Okay, welcome everybody to a very special event today in Bethel Park, where we are going to honor one of Bethel Park's own, Pete Edwards. And it's just such an honor to have everybody here. We have some of our esteemed public officials who are going to come up and present Mr. Edwards with a number of awards and accommodations. So without further ado, I'd like to get started. And I do want to mention that we have social distance throughout. We are all masked. We are going to be social distance, and we did keep the number to 10 people to try to abide by the local rules that we are compelled to do. I'm going to remove my mask while I'm speaking at this time. And, oops, there goes my mask. And so, again, thank you all for joining us. And Peter, what a great day here for me, and I know for all of us gathered here to honor you. This is truly, when we talk about our Lifetime Achievement Award, this is truly somebody that deserves this accolade and this award. Looking over your incredible life of coming up on 100 years on January 2nd, which is your birthday. Sue did really put together a nice summary here of some of your great accomplishments, and of course I'm going to highlight most all of them. I know, again, I want to just welcome everybody. We have Adeline, Pete's wife, and she is Tootsie, they call her. And we have Sue and Mark Means. This is Pete's daughter and son. We have with us also the mayor of Bethel, who will be up here shortly to present an award, and our president of council, Tim Mowry, who will say a few words. In addition, our state representative, Natalie Mihalik, who also is here to present an accommodation, a citation, and of course Dave Williams, who really, that's part of the reason we're here today, is because of Dave Williams. I'll get into that in a moment. We have Nick from BPTV, Brad Kilmeyer, who's helped along with this process. My assistant, my right arm, Heather, and of course Antoine, our excellent constable security. And I would be remiss if I did not mention my good friend and the guy that covers everything in the whole area, Harry Funk, and he does a great job with the almanac, and Harry's going to cover the story today for us. Pete Seddon Edwards, born January 2nd, 1921. Helen and Peter were his mom and dad. They were married April 21st, 1917. And brother Frank was born 2 years later. The family lived at Dormont, and of course they navigated their way here to Bethel Park in 1926. And they started a plumbing and contracting business, and they did a lot of different things through the years, and the whole family worked really hard. In 1926, Pete's father started Brookside Lumber, which is just a famous company in our area, and it's been around forever. Everybody knows Brookside Lumber. And they had this construction company. They built homes. When the Depression came along, it was tough for everybody. And Pete's family, they had some foreclosure issues and had to unload some things. But you know, Pete graduated high school, and he then, for what, 47, and that was 1947, right? Graduated the class playing
38.
Football. What was it?
38.
1938. Playing football, graduating with, you know, esteemed honors. Then next, he prepared to play college football, and he really did. He wanted to play college football, but he realized very quickly that he might not have had the size to play collegiate football, and that was at Colgate, correct?
Correct.
And then he went on December 7th, 1941, he remembers this day very vividly. It was the day that the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And so Pete decided that he at some point wanted to join the military, and that he enlisted in the Army Air Corps August 12th, 1942. He did want to finish college, and he did, a little bit early actually. In order to be a pilot, Pete had to have surgery on his septum to correct a deviated septum at Presby Hospital, and that's where he met his wife, Ruth. And they were married for some time, and Ruth was from Somerset, I believe, that's right. And so 6 weeks before he left for training, it included Nashville, Tennessee, Montgomery, Alabama, Walnut Ridge, Arkansas, Georgia. Ruth did visit with him in Georgia, and they were married on March 17, 1944 at the chapel at Spence Field. The newlyweds went to Richmond, Virginia, where Pete flew P-47s. Living in Virginia with the young couple, they had a lot of fun playing cards, and while Pete was flying and practicing and so forth. In August of 1944, Pete traveled by troop ship to Italy, where he was stationed at San Savaro and Mondolfo. And from 1944, May of 1945, Pete flew 49 missions as a bomber escort in a P-51. His closest call came when he was flying over Germany over a train, and a boxcar opened up and machine gun fire rained upon his aircraft. It was pretty crazy though, because after they landed, Pete and his mechanic, they went all over the plane, and interestingly enough, not a bullet hit the plane. That was really incredible. Near the end of the war in Europe, Pete escorted bombers who participated in the 24-hour bombing raid of Berlin, Germany. And Pete finally remembers all the great camaraderie that he had with his fellow pilots. There was 30 of them. And he just remembers them trading cigarettes and all the different things that they did through the years. Actually, there were buckets, and he poked holes in the buckets to give each other showers. And I mean, you got to be pretty close to somebody to do that, right? And that's the way it was back in the day. And boy, Pete, he also he was blessed by the Pope. Well, that was pretty incredible, and I believe that was in 1945, February. And he was also promoted to first lieutenant at that time. May 8, 1945, at the end of the European campaign, Pete flew to Naples in a B-17 and traveled on the Liberty ship back to the States. Halfway across the ocean, the propeller shaft broke. At Fort Dix, New Jersey, Pete was given 3 choices: to remain in the Army Air Corps as an instructor, to go to the Pacific, or to get out. Pete chose to get out and be with his family. And boy, the rest continues to be great history, as Pete and Ruth lived in his parents' house for a while they built their home on Meadowbrook. And at first, Pete worked with the family, doing contracting and the business, at timekeeper, labor, worked from the bottom up, just like my grandfather just used to say, that's what you do, you work from the bottom up. And that's what Pete did in all his life. And in the mid-50s, he decided he wanted to branch out. So he started Win Oil Company. His territory consisted of western Pennsylvania, and Pete worked part-time at Brookside Lumber. In the early 50s, he became the president of Brookside Lumber and the chairman of the board until the 1980s. Pete later became the distributor for BG Products, which was produced oils for maintenance and service of fuel systems and vehicles. At 95, Pete sold his BG distributorship, but continued working the family business, Brookside Lumber, until he retired in November of 2020 at the age of 99. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. As a young father, Pete became involved in so many organizations and with the church. He had so many friends over the years, and he was involved. I'm going to talk a little bit about, some of the organizations. Bethel Park Planning and Zoning was the 5 years and 2 years as a chairman. Bethel Park School Bond Authority. Founding member and past president of the Bethel Park Board of Trade, which later became the Chamber of Commerce. Also, a member of the Bethel Park Athletic Hall of Fame, 2000 to 2015. A good friend of many officials, but a really, really close friend of Mayor Cliff Morton, of whom we're all very good friends with, and we love Cliff very much. Also, a member of the 90 and Over Club, Bethel Park, for 10 years. The Kiwanis Club president 3 times, from 47 to 1990. A member of the American Legion, vice commander in 1946. Bethel Park Veteran of the Year in 2016. Bethel Park Presbyterian Church is where his faith had led him. One of the big things, and this is where Dave Williams comes in. And by the way, Dave Williams is again the reason why we're all here today. And I want to thank you, Dave, for really bringing this to the forefront. I know you wanted to do this for Pete, and it's again because of you that we're here today, and I really appreciate it. I know the family does, and I know Pete does as well. Pete loves golf, and at the age of 15, Sue tells us this great story of when he had played a game of golf with his friends, and they biked over to South Park Golf Course with a few clubs and proceeded to play 51 holes of golf. Now, they had a few calluses on their hands by the end of the day, but Pete that day fell in love with the game of golf. And I sure can understand that because I enjoy and love the game as well, as many people do. As a young man, Pete also was involved with the Boy Scouts and did a canoe trip to Canada. Pete always remained active in the community in so many different organizations. And, it's really incredible when you think about somebody and you think about an award. You have this guy that was a great family guy, just a great person. I know a lot of people in the area, nobody has ever said one bad word about Pete Edwards. It's always been the highest degree of commentary and just a great guy. I know all his friends over at Upper St. Clair or St. Clair Country Club love Pete, and in fact, they actually have an award for many, many years for a great golf venture that they put together, and they came to rename it the Edwards Cup, which is really one of the highest acclaims when you think about St. Clair Country Club and all the great history there, that they now are calling that the Edwards Cup. Yeah. And that's pretty incredible. And getting a little bit more into the golf, which I thought was really cool. Pete actually, he liked the game so much that one day he played, let me see here now if I have this right. This is pretty incredible. Pete could probably tell the story way better than me, but let's see here. It was, first of all, he plays regularly still, and his lovely wife Adeline and he love to be over at the club. Tootsie, as everyone likes to call her. And let's see, so Pete shot better than his age 103 times. 103 times, which, just so you know, only less than 10% of golfers shoot under 100. Pete is going to be 100 in a week or so, and he 103 times has shot under his age most recently, okay? Beginning with 75 at Green Oaks Country Club, he had his fourth hole in one. People go a lifetime without having one. He had 4. Let's see, and also a hole in one on number 5 at St. Clair Country Club. Something else noteworthy of golf accomplishments, at the age of 84, at the age of 94, Pete shot an 84. There's not many people at the age of 25 that could shoot an 84, so that's incredible. Also, let's see, playing 55 days in a row God bless you, Tootsie, and you know the family. I know my wife would kill me, but no, she's pretty good. And then, interestingly enough, and this is really something. One day, Pete and his friends wanted to see how many holes they could play. Well, they got 108 holes in one day. 108 holes. That's incredible. If anybody knows, 18 holes is a round of golf. He played about what? I guess 6 or 7 rounds. That's pretty incredible. You know, Pete, it's really amazing what you've done, and you are to be commended. And so, at this time, what I would like to do is if you could come up here, please.
It's always good I can get up.
Pete, there's nobody, I don't think, around the whole entire country that deserves this Lifetime Achievement Award more so than you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Ron.
And so this is in special recognition of Pete Edwards on this day, the 28th day of December, 2020. This is from the Special Court Judges Association of Pennsylvania, issued under my hand. Pete, the Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations. God bless you. You are a real hero. And yes, you are. And you're an incredible individual and person. And at this time now, I'd like to please call Mayor Jack Allen to also issue an award and say a few words, along with our President of Council, Tim Maury.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I read, or actually I heard some of the things that Ron said, and of course I read them before I got here. How do you play 6 rounds of golf in one day?
Well, it was a charity thing. We got people to put up so much a hole. If, you know, so they put up $1 or $10 a hole, and so when it was over, if they played, I played 106, it was 106, it got too dark to go, they let those last 2, you know.
I figured you had to start when it was dark, you had to end when it was dark.
Well, we started a little bit late. We had a good breakfast out. I was surprised.
Oh, so you could have got more in then, if you would have started earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a proclamation for you, Mr. Edwards. And whereas Peter graduated from Bethel High School in 1939 and attended Colgate College before entering the U.S. Army Corps after hearing of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And whereas Peter was stationed in San Salvador and Mondolfo, where he flew 49 missions as a bomber escort in a P-51 Mustang, and escorted bombers that participated in a 24-hour raid of Berlin, Germany, and was promoted to first lieutenant. And whereas in the 1950s, Peter became the president of Brookside Lumber, where Peter Edwards Sr. started in 1926. And whereas Peter is a founding member of the Bethel Park Community Foundation, the Bethel Park Chamber of Commerce, and has been a member of the Planning Zoning Committee, the Schools Bond Authority, Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, Kiwanis Club, American Legion, and especially a 10-year member of the 90 Plus Club, and I could say we've only had a few of those, and a Bethel Presbyterian Church. And whereas Peter is an avid golfer, with major accomplishments including shooting in '84 at the age of 94, playing 55 days in a row and playing 106 holes in a day, and shooting or breaking his age 103 times. So therefore I, Jack Allen, the mayor of Bethel Park, do recognize Peter S. Edwards on his 100th birthday, given under the hand of the seal of the mayor of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, this 28th day of December 2020. So that's for you, Mr. Edwards.
Thanks very much, Jack.
Thank
I
you.
really do appreciate that. It was a wonderful occasion. Only reason they could do all these things is because they live so damn long. You know?
I did learn one valuable lesson today. The next time I go golfing, I'm taking you.
We said the same
For,
thing.
if nothing else, for lessons.
Yeah, really, really.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
and
thank
happy
you
birthday.
all.
Stay right here, please.
Okay.
Now, at this time, I'd like to call upon Representative Natalie Mihalik to adorn our honorable one here with a citation.
Thank
Representative?
you. Thank you, Your Honor. And what an absolute honor to be here today, Mr. Edwards, and happy early birthday to you. I'm friends with Sue, and over the years, she's given me bits and pieces of your incredible story. Over 100 years, I can't believe it, and I got the whole story today. You have an incredible amount of energy. I need to borrow some of it. I have 3 little kids at home who are currently going crazy with their Christmas gifts, but there was definitely not enough room on this citation to include all of the accolades and everything that you've been able to accomplish in your 100 years, and we should all be so lucky to achieve half of what you've done. So I wanted to present this official citation from the House of Representatives, signed by the Speaker of the House and myself, and I'll just read the end of it here, because I feel like we could be here all day to just list, you know, a quarter of the things that you've been able to accomplish in your lifetime. And now, therefore, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania pays special tribute to Peter Edwards Jr. upon the joyous celebration of his 100th birthday, notes with appreciation that he has generously contributed to the community and the well-being of others, and offers best wishes for every future happiness. Thank you so much for being part of our community, and happiest
Well,
birthday
thank
to
you
you.
very much.
Congratulations.
Very good.
So Pete, step this way just a little bit, because I want you in the picture here in the front. Also now at this time, I'd like to bring up, I'm gonna bring up Mark and Sue in a minute, but Dave Williams to say a couple words. Again, it's because of Dave we're here, so Dave, please come on up and, I'm gonna go around this way, please. So Dave's gonna come and say a few words on your behalf.
My friendship started with Pete a few years back when we formed a group known as White Tee Thursday. These are the older guys that like to move up a little bit on the tee, so it's a little less than 6,000 yards, made up of like 36 guys. And every one of the guys that are signing up, because we formed our groups of foursomes, always ask, put Pete in my group because he gets more strokes. so it's been an overwhelming pleasure and a point of pride for me to have been able to develop this close friendship with Pete. I'm honored to have gotten to know you so well. It means so much to me. It meant so much to so many people at St. Clair Country Club. You are a pillar for all these years, and I truly congratulate you on all your accomplishments in life. So thank you very much for allowing me to share that with you. All right?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave, last summer, drove Pussy and I downtown, where I had the honor of having 30-some immigrants take the Pledge of Allegiance to the
Citizenship.
U.S. And I said to them after they joined me in the Pledge of Allegiance, I know you've probably heard this is a land of opportunity. That's true, it's here, but you gotta work for it.
Amen for that.
So this morning, when I was getting dressed, I got a phone call. It was Mike Fisher, wishing me a happy birthday.
My man Mike, he's a great guy. Sue, would you like to come up? Go run this one, please. Mark, I'll call on you in a moment, if you'd like. Sue?
So I guess I have to add a couple paragraphs to my dad's bio, and we need to say, awesome, great friend, generous, compassionate, kind person, and the #1 greatest dad, grandfather and great-grandfather. I love you, Dad, and thank you so much for this honor. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, Sue. That's so nice. It's easy to honor somebody like your father. Mark?
I'd just like to thank everybody for making this happen today. Really appreciate it. And
I'm just lucky you didn't beat me up when I was smaller. I'm still here today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks. And Tootsie, would you like to say a few words? Please. Come on in here, back in here, into the frame.
I have to take my mask down.
Yeah, please, come on. Right. Good.
I've been married to Pete coming up on 8 years. And when we got married, he said, Tootsie, I'm a golf addict. And I said, that's fine. And that's why he plays a lot of golf, because I think it's great for him. And it's what he does a lot, and he's very good at it. But he's a wonderful man, a wonderful husband. She's right. A wonderful father, grandfather, and he's wonderful to my children and grandchildren. And I must say, the two of us, he's made my life so much better. And I thank him from the bottom of my heart. God bless you, Pete.
It's so nice to be so loved, and it's easy to see why. By the way, my dad didn't golf, but me and my brothers and family did. He could never understand why, we love the game so much. And I said, Dad, we do a lot of business out on the golf course. So I'm sure you can understand that. There's a lot of good friendships and a lot of business done out on the golf course, as you know, Pete. So in finality, I'd like, again, just to say thank you so much, everybody who participated and who came here today. I really appreciate your participation, and I know the Edwards family and Pete, Tootsie and Sue and Mark really appreciate it as well. And Pete, I'd like if you would leave us with some remarks, please.
And you could take off your mask.
Pass it down.
Oh, my son asked me once, this is years ago, my older son was a pastor for 50 years. And he said, what's the most important things to do in your life? I said, there are two things that I try to do. Whatever I do, I want to do the very best I can, no matter what it is. The other one is, I want to treat people like I want people to treat me. So those are the two things. And when I was in his church, a few years later, he brought that up before the congregation.
Amen.
It was very pleasing to me. So this has been a great occasion. I've had a wonderful, wonderful life. Even better than Jimmy Stewart.
Well, happy birthday, Pete. God bless you.
Thank you.